Greetings! Over the past 8 months I've been running Forza Horizon 5 Rivals in all classes and all race disciplines, trying to get to top 1% in everything. And along the way I've learned quite a few things, and I've worked out some tricks to make doing well at Rivals a bit easier. In this video I'll talk about what I've learned, and if you're struggling with Rivals I might be able to give you some tips which will help you to improve. If that sounds interesting, stick around. I consider myself a mediocre driver. I play as part of a club, and many, if not most, of the club members I drive with regularly are able to beat me in most races. Yet, I got to top 1% in all the Rivals races I've tried, and I'll be finishing off the last few all C-class over the next few weeks. If you're going to do well at Rivals, you first need to learn to drive reasonably well. Any fool can drive fast, but you need to know when to slow down too. When I was very new to Forza Horizon, I used to watch videos of other people racing, and I couldn't understand why, as they approached a corner, they slowed down so much. Surely, I thought, you can just drive into the corner at full speed and brake on the bend. That's what I did, and it seemed to work. The thing is, while you can appear to gain time by heading full tilt into the corner, you'll have to slow down far more if you brake on the bend than if you brake going in. Additionally, the driver who goes in full tilt will be slowing down when he hits the apex, which is a point at which you should be getting back on the gas and gaining speed. Rivals isn't all about cornering, and we'll cover some other aspects later in the video, but getting corners right is a huge part of becoming successful at Rivals. Once you've mastered basic driving skills, the next thing to decide on is which track you're going to do. Perhaps, like I did, you'll say, I'm going to do all the tracks in all the classes and try to get to top 1%. Or maybe there's a particular track you like, maybe Caldera Scramble or Arch of Mulligay Circuit. Whatever you choose, for each Rivals attempt you'll be working on one track at a time, and it's important that you take the right car. It's no good taking a road-tuned car to a dirt track, and you're unlikely to succeed if you take a cross-country car on a road race. If you're a member of a club which has a Discord or other forum, try asking your fellow club members for recommendations. Good clubs will always have people who are willing to help. If you're not in a club, or if you're in one of the vanity clubs which have thousands of members who never drive together and don't know one another, an alternative way to decide which car to take is to have a look in the leaderboards to see which cars have done well. But if you look at the top times on most tracks, you'll find them infeasible. Less than a second on Colossus, Caldera Scramble in less than a second. These are either bugs or cheats, and even though they don't belong on the leaderboards, the developers appear to have no interest in removing them. Also, you can mostly disregard times set by untuned cars. These cars, by definition, aren't going to be able to set competitive Rivals times. Look for cars tuned to the top or very near the top of their class. So in D class, for example, you want to be somewhere close to D500. Scroll down the leaderboard until you start to see times which seem reasonable. About a minute for short circuits, 2, 3 or 4 minutes for longer circuits and for sprints, and for tracks like Goliath or Marathon, anything more than 20 to 30 minutes, depending on the class. Anyway, now you've chosen your car. Let's say you've decided to attempt Caldera Scramble and you've selected the Myers-Manx. At D291 stock, the Manx isn't going to do well, so you need to tune it. If you know how to tune, you can tune it yourself, or you can download a tune from the Creative Hub. You can search for a tune by all sorts of categories, or if you have a tune recommended, you can search for it by its share code. Here, I'm downloading a tune by JD, which I know can do well on D500 Dirt. Oh, when loading tunes, there is another bug which might or might not affect you. Sometimes, or always in my case, the tune won't apply properly the first time you download it. To check, go to My Tunes in the Tune menu and see if the stats for the car match the tune. If they don't, download it again. It will usually apply properly the second time, but occasionally you need to do this multiple times. Now it's time to try it out. Jump into Rivals, find the track and have a go. The purpose of this is to set a time so the game will tell you how many people have attempted the track, so you can work out what position you need to get to. If you're lucky, you might get the position you want first time, in which case either move on to another track or race your own ghost or someone slightly faster to see if you can do better. Assuming you didn't achieve your goal on the first run, it's time to have a proper try. Pick a rival to act as pacemaker who's around the time you need to get. This is much easier if you're a member of a club, because you can filter by your club or your friends and club, and this will reduce the number of times you need to scroll through. To find your pacemaker, work out what position you need to be in the leaderboard to get to the position you want. Look at the number of times at the bottom right of the list, and that work out roughly where you need to be. If you want to get to top 1%, then divide the total times by 100. Top 5%, divide by 20, and so on. For example, if 50,000 people have attempted the track and you're trying to get to top 1%, you want to be in the top 500. So pick a pacemaker who is around that position or slightly better. Chasing a driver who is faster than you will make you drive faster. Don't ask me why, because I don't know. I just know it happens. You'll do better once you know the track, so don't expect to jump onto a track you've not driven before and do well first time. You haven't yet worked out the optimal braking points, nor which corners can be taken at speed and which you need to slow down for. Yes, you can turn on the braking line, but that doesn't always give accurate feedback, especially if you're making your own better lines than those suggested by the game. Doing well at Rivals takes persistence, practice and patience. Okay, so some other little hints and tips. Use follow cam. Yes, I know, cockpit view is much more immersive, but you'll get a much better sense of exactly where your car is on the road with follow cam. If you've been using cockpit view until now, you might find it takes a little getting used to, but it is worth the effort. I always drove in cockpit view when I started playing, and switching to follow view took me several sessions to get used to, but now I will never go back. On circuits with a lot of destructible items along the track, use your first lap to get rid of some of them. On Arch of Mulligay, for example, there's a fence right beside the checkpoint on the right-hand turn before the arch. If you destroy this on the first lap, you'll be able to take this corner faster on later laps. Not all such items stay destroyed, some come back at the start of each lap, but with experience you'll work out which these are. For tracks including water, learn where the shallow areas are or where the water is at its narrowest. You can save a lot of time just by taking the right line through a river. Don't always just blindly follow the driving line, and don't be afraid to use all the road. By entering corners wider, you'll be able to carry more speed into the corner, and you'll be going faster as you leave. The big idea is to straighten out the bend, so you need to brake less on entry, and you'll be going faster on exit. Rewind's a useful tool to help you practice this. If a corner is giving you difficulty, keep using rewind and try different approaches, changing your entry speed, your line, getting back on the gas at different points and so on, until you're happy you know how to take it. Be sure to rewind far enough back so that you're taking the corner in the context of what comes before it. Not rewinding far enough can end in your being locked into a suboptimal line or speed. Rewind's also useful for planning the best way over jumps and other tricky features like water. Do be careful when using rewind close to the start of the track. If you rewind back over the start line, you will dirty your previous lap. Rivals isn't racing. In a race, there are other drivers to contend with, the conditions are rarely perfect, and in a race you can't just keep going until you're happy with your time. You will rarely, if ever, set a competitive rival's time in a race, although it does occasionally happen, but normally your racing times will be considerably slower than your rival's time on the same track with the same car. Be careful over jumps. Sometimes it's enough just to line your car up correctly so you land pointing in the right direction, but it's often worth losing a bit of speed before the jump, either so you don't overshoot a checkpoint or so you can hit the ground faster on the other side and can accelerate away sooner. Sometimes it's just so you can control the car on landing, and so you aren't landing out of control, upside down and on fire. Learn from your mistakes. If you hit a wall or miss a checkpoint, try to work out what you could have done differently. Perhaps you were going too fast, perhaps your line was wrong, or perhaps a combination of the two. Or maybe you're not yet familiar enough with the track. Reflect on it, continue to practice, and next time, try and do it better. In road racing, don't drift round corners. It might look cool, but in road racing, in a properly tuned car, it is the slowest way around the corner. If your car is going sideways at all, it's not going forwards. Anyway, that's the end. If you found this video useful, please hit the like button so YouTube knows to recommend it to other people who also might find it useful. Do drop a comment below if you have any questions, if I've missed anything, or if you've got any tips of your own to share. And I'm still on a learning curve with YouTube, so if you think I could have done anything better in this video, I didn't go into enough detail or things like that, then please add a comment there too. I'm very grateful for all feedback. Thank you very much for watching. I do hope you found it useful, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!